Martin, welcome and thank you for joining us. It's always a pleasure talking to you because you have so much expertise to share with us about fighting financial crime.
Well, thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my views more widely.
So today we're discussing why so many of us are failing with our current AML strategy and where we can make some changes. So it's widely reported that less than 1% of laundered money is actually seized. Why is that?
One of the reasons is we try too hard. This is driven by fear of failure, and consequently, too many AML professionals seek to be all things to all customers and all transactions at all times. Even though most regimes are risk-based, there's a lack of focus, and in trying to do everything, we effectively achieve nothing.
So what are the changes the AML regulators are looking for?
They want to move the thinking to one of outcomes rather than process for the sake of process. I recall that in 2019 I was interviewing David Lewis when he stated he would prefer to see an AML professional believe their day's work stopped a money launderer rather than the completion of 10 KYC files. Our outcomes have not been good because we're wrapped up in the process and we're inhibited by two words: what if?
So how do we change our approach?
When applying a risk-based approach, it's necessary to accept there will be times when money is going to be laundered. Get over it. Let me give you some context to this. In 2018, a report was published regarding murders in Latin America, and it was established 80% of the murders were committed on 2% of the streets. So law enforcement focused upon the 2%. There was nobody saying, what if? The resources were focused, murders were solved, and most importantly, murder rates were reduced.
And what does that mean in the context of anti-money laundering?
Money laundering is committed by a small number of customers and a small number of accounts. But most firms monitor all customers and all transactions. Some may actually be looking for the 2%, but a what-if brigade posits there could be money laundering by any customer at any time, and consequently there is no focus, and commonly 100% of customers' transactions are monitored.
So are you proposing that we do less and not try so hard?
Yes and no. Please don't stop trying. Indeed, try harder, but look at less, perhaps 2%. Be more focused. Think outside of the box, the restricted boxes, and look for better outcomes.
So, doing less. Let me test you, Martin. How much less would you do if you were back in the hot seat as money laundering reporting officer at a big bank?
Where is this bank? Is it a fancy island? I jest. I want to identify two portfolios of customers. One of those is the high-risk accounts where money laundering may take place. And then there's the others, where there's no risk, such as your account, Nola. And I want to do little, or actually more preferably nothing, about those customers. I want to focus. I want to generate better outcomes. So in a roundabout way, the answer is 5%.
5%? Wow. So how do you justify that?
Well, in the UK, as a context, there are 500,000 suspicious activity reports now filed every year. And a lot of money is laundered. But in reverse, how many legitimate transactions are completed every year? Trillions? How much of the money is legitimate? 95% or more? Moreover, we actually need to learn lessons from other industries.
So what kind of industries in particular?
The passenger airline industry. They're very good at KYC and managing risk. Pre-COVID-19, 3 million passengers flew around the world every day on 102,000 flights. There were no terrorists, no bombs, no attacks. It's a successful business. Core to this is collaboration between the passengers, the airports, the airlines, and the regulators. Imagine a bank's AML team running security at an airport. You may need to get to the airport 3 days before you fly. The airline industry uses intelligence. There is focus, and the primary risk of bombs being taken onto planes is addressed. So to all viewers and listeners, when you are doing your job, think of your bank, your firm, as an airline. Customers are passengers and accounts are bags or cases. Always make sure you know your customer. Screen every bag or suitcase. Don't search them all. Use intelligence to search the right bag at the right time. Bags and cases present the highest level of risk in the airline when it goes onto the plane, not when coming off the plane.
So where should we focus?
Logically, credit transactions, funds, assets, money going into accounts.
So Martin, that's quite an alternative approach. How do you think that would be received?
Hopefully positively, because there's no longer any tolerance of this failed status quo. You said at the beginning we're seizing less than 1%. It costs too much money. It's now costing executives their jobs and potentially their liberties. Shareholders no longer tolerate the mismanagement of money laundering. The penalties are too big and they're picking up the bill. My approach requires well-trained staff to think differently in order to protect those same executives and the shareholders.
So Martin, can you give our viewers one last piece of advice to help them with their anti-money laundering endeavours?
Nola, please allow me to give them more than one. Money launderers are indeed ordinarily charming people, nice, friendly, because they want you to do something you ordinarily wouldn't. They want you to believe in them, but perhaps they want you to cut corners. So when a relationship manager tells you their customer is too nice to be a money launderer, think on. Then keep in mind this: money launderers are limited by two primary factors: their imagination and our collective efforts to stop them. Finally, you wouldn't want an untrained pilot flying your plane, so don't approach anti-money laundering without training.
So in conclusion, training is key, although some people might think that your approach is a bit radical.
Yes, or even mad. And they would be right, because I am mad. MAD stands for making a difference. And Nola, that's exactly what I do.
Martin, thank you so much for joining us. It's always insightful speaking to you about a topic that you're so passionate about.
No, thank you for giving me this opportunity to share some of my mad thinking with you and the listeners and the viewers. Thank you.